All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for February 1st, 2024. Let's start with Alcoa, 30-minute charts. This blue box is the 5-day look back, high and low. This is the 1-day look back is the yellow box. So today there was a little gap down. We got short. It reversed for a 1-hour loss. It then reversed again. I re-entered short. Took this exit on a 1-2 exit and made, so that was +2. So we netted 1 and no overnight risk. I noticed that this little 1, 2, 3 entry at the end of the day was enough to get across the VWAP and do a PSAR flip. So that's going to add Alcoa to our little list of high priority trades tomorrow, because if this support level holds, then another move back to 31 is possible. That gives us a nice reward to risk ratio. Visual framing. AI, we got short on the continuation short, standard risk, reversed, took the exit just as it was approaching the dragon, preserved 1R, probably gave back too much. It continued to go up, so I speculated back in, and it closed pretty well, and it's holding an additional 1, so we'll hold that one. The Aussie dollar pair, this got directional today for really nice moves. Off, that's as clean a turning point as you could get in both directions, and I just wasn't around to get the follow up. Caterpillar, standard entry on a like a Kata 2. I'm going to hold that one overnight with 2R. Cliff, uh, cashed half an R after letting a bunch of it get away. This was a pure Kata 2 once more. CVS, no trade. Diamonds, um, waited for the morning hook. It was actually like a lunchtime hook. 1, 2, 3 off the bottom at lunchtime. Standard risk. It closed really well for almost 3R, and it's pushing the top of this very strong resistance right here. So if it can break above 385 and a half, 385.50 is the signal for that thing really to go. That'll be the tell. Disney, standard SSC. Because of the size of that sell-off, I considered an SSC. But longer term, you'd look at that and say, oh, that's just a Kata 2. I agree in both cases. As long as you take the trade, I agree with you. Devon Energy, this one I got short as it rolled over. So let's get that. Oops. Pardon me. Yeah. So this one opened here, it rolled over. So it's part of this downward trend. So I got short. It was successful initially, then came back and I managed to get out with a scratch. It rolled up and then rolled over again. So I got short at the same level, same risk box. This time it collapsed all the way to here, came back up off the bottom, covered right there for 2R. And then it just proceeded to collapse the rest of the day. So there's more downside in Devon tomorrow. What'll make it interesting is that this price level acted as support last week for that move. So this is a critical state because of the power of this move. You say, is this where it holds and rebounds, or is that where it collapses? So that makes that a really attractive frame for tomorrow in both directions. Emerging markets tried the breakout 1, 2, 3, and ended up taking about a 1 hour loss, and then couldn't get my mind right and get back in. So -1. ETHE no trade. Um, Mexico caught a 2 continuation for 2R. Brazil 2 1 hour losses on that one. I could not get on the right side of that one to save my life, and just ignored it the rest of the day. Intel. This is a COTA 2. If you follow the RL10, there's your little 1, 2, 3 entry as it enters the dragon. And here's your low and a higher low in the RL10s. And it has to get across the dragon. It did that right away. The top of the RL10 is where it struggles, and it kept trying to break out, could never really get out. So that was not compelling for tomorrow. So I held it as long as I could, but preserved 1R. IP got a um, initial short position. This thing was just collapsing all the way through. So finally got short. It ran all the way down and then all the way back up. So I ended up taking I gave back so much on. I gave back like 3R on that. Ridiculous. And then it rolled over right away. So I got back in, held my nose, and it gave me 2 back. But that one was unusual behavior in a major industrial company. Beauty in IYR. So last night we talked about how would the managers treat this sell-off? Is that going to be buy quality on a dip, or is it the beginning of a collapse of the entire asset class of U.S. real estate? It held support, reversed intraday. Uh, I got a second position on when it crossed the Bollinger Band mean, and it closed at the high of the day. And on 1 unit of risk, we got 1, 2, 3, 4R on this one, 2R on that one. So we're holding 6 on that move. And it closed above this entire resistance level. So I feel like that one can really go. That one can really go. Up we go. That's an arrow. Coca-Cola, boy, yesterday's little collapse into here was a perfect short. Was content to carry no overnight risk. It opened here and then went 1, 2 straight through the dragon and the Bollinger Band main through the PSAR. So I bought it with standard risk, and it did this and closed at the very peak of the day at 61. So that's about 1.5% of gain. And I will add to that one tomorrow if it continues to go. I really like that one. KRE, I talked about this one at length yesterday, and it featured great big gap down and then a rolling collapse at the end of the day. And we said, is that going to be vulnerable? We said probably. It could be a rebound, but more likely that it was going to melt down. And when it fell a risk box uh, from the open, I shorted, collapsed 1, 2, 3 exit for 4R. I thought about the entry here, but that was such a collapsing weakness that I was ready to let that go, and so I didn't take it. But that was a nice 2 day continuation. If we look at that on the daily chart, um, you can see what I mean. Yeah. So this was yesterday's move. You know, it opened here, it ran up a little bit and closed poorly. And then today it just collapsed. And as soon as that collapses below yesterday's low, you got to be short. And then it gets all the way down to here. And how much of that rebound do you want to give back before you exit the short? Standard management. McDonald's, uh, this is a cotta two. I front rented a little bit here with like a 1, 2, 3 entry at the edge of the dragon with a tight wrist box. And that really rewarded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 R, just as nice as you could want. And it closed above the previous VWAP and peak of the RL10. That thing is poised to really run tomorrow. Coca-Cola should be on your short list for trading. Yeah, the dotted line is the Bollinger Band main. That's this one here. It's the middle of the river. Merck, huge. I was slow to get into that. It closed here. It gapped up, um, settled in, and in the second hour, got that continuation entry. Standard risk. It's above the VWAP, above the skin of the dragon. I just rode it all day. It closed at the top of the day. Another 5R trader there. Just as good as could be. And, the heads up from yesterday was that this was one of the better performers during the Fed sell off. So that was one of the reasons to have it on the short list. Microsoft, I tried this. This was a yesterday's close down here. It gapped up to here and then started taking off. So I tried it long and it failed. So I scratched and then it just was sideways all day. Marijuana, PSAR flip, um, standard entry above the dragon, and it closed well. So again, I like it. Nike, no trade. Nvidia caught a two entry. Tech rebounded pretty well. The AI companies did pretty well. That's about 3R, holding it overnight. Clean energy, no trade. It was all over the map. Rivian, one, two. I tried the 1, 2, 3 entry midday, and it never really followed through. So scratch. This is SPY. Um, you can see it had a nice recovery date. There was some momentary weakness, but then really it was just a follow through day. And that makes everything that was kind of like SSC and COTA 2, all of those worked today because the market was dragging it north. Treasuries gained a little bit and held on to it. I speculated back into Tesla on the 1, 2, 3, holding an R. We'll give it a try. Walmart, nice follow through, 3R. US Steel. So this was the other one we were looking at uh, for the big sell off yesterday. And as soon as it collapsed, got short yesterday, right? And this was where I talked about, hey, what that was a real decision. I said, well, let's speculate and hold on to it because it was such a shock to the system. And they're in the middle of all those negotiations to be bought out by the Japanese. I said if there was ever one that was going to collapse further after that big sell-off yesterday, it would be U.S. Steel. And sure enough, so we were holding 5R overnight. We had a cushion. It gapped all the way down to here, and then I added a second position, and then it made an orderly recovery and hit the edge of the dragon. So I just got out of the whole position right there and was um, had my sanity restored. So pretty good day of follow through today. It was mostly a recovery day from the Fed sell off. So if we looked at the daily on this thing, prior to the Fed announcement, we had this nice grinding higher move, terminating in a doji the day before the Fed, then a gap down, and then that big harsh sell off and closing at the low of the day that was testing the PSAR. And so what's it going to be? Well, it was a buy on dip opportunity, and they ran it all the way back up to yesterday's high. So this feels like the resumption of the move. So didn't have to go that way. It could just as easily have been a gap down and sell off below the Bollinger Band main. And then that could 474 was actually in sight. That's a 4% difference from here to there. So that was about a percent and a half, something like that. Spent some time in the foundations course looking at pattern recognition, reviewing standard trade framing for uh, measuring the legs of gains, reviewed some of our standard patterns for the supported spring crossing, the owl, and the emerging dragon, and our standard battle drill for getting to no lose plus dinner for two. Yesterday, we also spent time with the reviewing the sniper strategy. Yesterday was and today was pretty productive. All right, so here's sniper trade of the day. So we're on 3 minute charts. Here's where it closed yesterday. Here was your OR3. There's your entry and standard risk. It rolled over. I took a half an hour at the edge of the dragon just to get on the score sheet. Missed the short. Caught a 2 entry. Lost an R. Caught a 2 re-entry at the VWAP. Grinding 3R. So net 3 for the day. This is this was the close. About 30 minutes into the day, it has held support across the Bollinger Band main. The dragon is up across the Bollinger Band main. So speculate long. Second position to our battle drill. Third position. Exit at the PSAR flip. One, two, three, four, five on this one. Two on that one on this one. So that's about 8R. This is in Coca-Cola. Caught a 2 re-entry. Scratch. and nothing. This big thick blue line is the close yesterday. This thing gave a 1, 2, 3 entry and a new low. So I'm short with a standard risk. Second position, third position, fourth position, exit with a big win. SSC, uh, cash at the PSAR flip on the far side. Print that chart and just make it a flashcard. That one is, oh yeah, this is KRE. That's the one we talked about yesterday. It said the regional banks were going to be very vulnerable because of that harsh sell-off because of the Fed. It collapsed right away, so that was number one on my list of compound critical states ready to exploit. So I was ready to murder that thing on the way down. Big day. Um, kind of grinding for Hamad. They all look the same leaving the station, and if you stay with it, reasonable risk management gets a minor gain. Uh, if you stay with it, this one pays off. This little early move, the 1, 2, 3 on McDonald's, to me, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Walmart, Home Depot, those four companies right there, that's like America. You know who has to own those? Everybody. Everybody that manages money for other people has to own those. So I don't really worry about upside, running out of room to the upside. In my view, they have an unlimited upside forever and ever. Um, I wouldn't worry about the upside on those guys. They're the opposite of tech and, fads. They just, that's a mainstream America right there. Really nice work here on Boeing. This is one where he was able to get in and hang on and ride it. And it was one of the big winners yesterday, so good follow through. I'd rather see you using this money to pile on the ones that are working. Like if you start with 4 bullets and you get a position on this one and it's mucking around, and you get a second position and it's mucking around, and the third one takes off and starts going, I'm not interested in and to keep going after these. Take that money and put it on the one that's working, and then put all your eggs on that one basket, and then watch that basket. Find the movers and exploit them. Like that last one you were doing, I think was Boeing. You were making money on the upside in the direction of the market while this thing was losing and while it was grinding. So you gotta focus that lens and stops are too tight. This thing is grinding all the way up. That original entry should have been here, and that should exploit that entire trade. You're getting too close to the fire on those. Yeah, keep an eye on that Z3 pinch. And then here, is a breakout. And if you use the far side of the pinch as your stop, and that's where the PSAR was, look at the cushion that you have. And when you notice the VWAPs in there, this is where this is where you should be adding instead of exiting. We should be entering here, adding a position here. And there's your kata 2. Let's take a look at the you're still in the winter, spring, summer. We should be entering here. It's crossing the VWAP with the kata 2 and the MACD is all favorable. That's what we got to be looking for. And when it gets above this level, you're good to go. So an entry here, we could even think about a second position, or that's a second position. And then you're trying to not lose money. I get that. But this PSAR works all the way up into here. So we're losing from the exit to the re-entry. We're losing all of those little pieces. That's a good shot right there. I think the exit should be a little sooner. Like this is supposed to work, and this rolls over and turns to winter again. And at the first touch of the VWAP, I'd like to see out here rather than here. But I do like that short. It just didn't pay off, so that's fine. Just tracking the RL10s. Whenever the RL10 bends, I'm always thinking about how can I buy Kata 2s in that little elbow that when it holds. Here is a summer, fall, summer. That's an automatic entry. Automatic entry. Doesn't pay off, but that's an automatic entry. This is Jonathan. This is the open of the day, I believe. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's a pretty tight wrist box right there. I like that exit in order to get 1R locked in. That's good to go. Now I'm noticing these little rising lows in the R10, and that's where this little piece right in here, the land between the rivers, I like that entry. You know, if you got 1, 2, 3 rising lows and it has crossed the dragon, and this is very orderly, why not? Because you're going to have the same exit anyway. So I'd rather give that one a try and enter from there. And then I get to the maximum favorable excursion. Then if I come all the way back here through the dragon, I should at least be able to scratch here. And then I could get short here instead of just exiting right there. And a short from here gives me a reasonable trade. And then here's my PSAR flip. And then if you get out with the PSAR or the dragon, somewhere in this region, you should be getting out. The other thing I want to just notice is in here, This is really good because you got spring, winter, spring, and entering the Red River. That's good stuff right there. And then this, that's telling you. I like this as a short, by the way. That's the winter. We don't know that it's not going to come down to this price level. That's what we think it's going to do. Then when it doesn't, you can get out at the skin of the dragon. When this thing does not fail to where it's supposed to fail, it's supposed to fail all the way over to here. When it doesn't, and instead comes this way and reverses, done. And then I'm ready to enter here. Perfect. Perfect. I mean, I don't mind that as the exit. It's supposed to work. It didn't. You got out. I thought we might have been a little late getting in on this one, though. I mean, that's still pretty good. That's a 1, 2, 3. It's the same entry. You still have the same exit. You would have ended up losing a little bit there. But after this entry, I'd probably be out here instead of waiting for that. I'd like to be short here and then PSAR flip. Yummy. And then when this gets breached, second position. Perfect from George. I really like that one. The reentry is demanded right there in Devon. You know, you get such a strong downward, then the upward rebound fails right away. Boy. And on this one, it's the opposite. It's the long side. You have this nice long move. Notice the red Bollinger Band mean. It's just the river's flowing higher. You tried long once. Um, you cut it very early. Tried it short, but I thought that was premature. But I respect it. But you didn't lose much. The fact that it did not fail means that the previous trend is true. And so this should be another stop and reverse, especially in CAT, Great American Company, and the S&P opened and was going up all day. I would add Caterpillar to that list of America, which was Walmart, Home Depot, Coke, McDonald's. I'd add Caterpillar. I'd add Microsoft in there too. Is it really a technology company? No, it's just America. Joe does a perfect job on this range expansion out of the little sideways chop here and reaching the VWAP. And then you gave it enough room to have a chance, but spine of the dragon and out. That's a nice little visual box building approach. So nice work there. We had a nice recovery. Let's see here. Back to overbought, fair normal. Volatility still favoring sharp 1 day moves. Big breakouts in Caterpillar, Coke, Merck, Procter, Walmart. Where have we heard those names before? Lots of good auto framers still available. Big percent winner in Microsoft and Nvidia. You got to be pounding those, man. Big wins in food, Japan, marijuana, uranium, um, consumer staples, and healthcare. Being dominated by spring and summer in the ETFs, spring and summer in the large caps. You really like the ones that are in the summer and with a high Z score. Those are the ones that are really running away with it. Disney looks good. Cat and Coke look good. I like them because they're in the summer, but there's still room for them to make the recovery. Finances has got hit pretty hard in the sell-off, so maybe there's some value plays there. The strongest of the ETFs, finance, fighters, the Qs, mostly strength today. And on the big recovery after a challenge to the markets, what won? Caterpillar, Walmart, Coke, Merck. This is S&P Industrials. That's your Caterpillars, International Paper, US Steel, Nucor Steel, Staples. Where's the horrible weakness? That regional banks. They are worse than the big banks because they are more vulnerable and not as protected. Let's see where we are here. Yep, still a market pause, but the 30 has reversed. The RL10 Z score has started to reverse. That's all good. It's trying hard to hold on to that price level. And if that can go, um, 490s in sight, 500s in sight. All right, that's everything for today. We'll get it published and posted and be ready for them on Frantic Friday. Let's get them tomorrow.